All right, guys, how's it going? How's it going? It's the Eastbayanglers. Today, we're talking all about New Hogan. New Hogan Lake. It's out there in the Motherlode Lake region, out there, you know, Central California. We're talking about this lake because right now the striper bite is in full swing, and we want to help you guys get on some striper right now. And, you know, it's a great little fishery. It's a great little population of stripers in there. And they do get up to 30 pounds. So there's a lot of largemouth bass and there's a lot of other panfish, you know. But the striper fishing for New Hogan is really, in my opinion, that's the bread and butter of that fishery. That's what's gonna, you know, get most people out there. All right, guys, so stripers are really good eating, really good tasting, you know, when you get them from freshwater lakes like this. New Hogan is a great little fishery. You know, it's a foothill fishery for sure. And for the most part, you know, the water clarity recently hasn't been too great, but on a normal year where we're not in drought conditions and stuff like that, I mean, this lake is so-so. So, you know, it clears up, but then, you know, when you get that big runoff and stuff like that, you're gonna get, no matter really where you're at, you're gonna get some water clarity issues. But New Hogan is really one of those fisheries that I do wish I could go more to than we have been able to in the last 10 years. But we're gonna talk today about the 5 baits that you wanna throw when you're at New Hogan, the 5 baits that we've thrown that we did well striper fishing, and we wanna talk to you about them. We're gonna get straight to it. Sorry about the, you know, number 1, hair jig, 1/4 ounce, all white, white pearl, white, any kind of a shad pattern, sexy shad, AU shad, green shad, gray shad, ghost shad, purple, pink, anything like that, in with that white, you know, that does really well. But for me, I pretty much stick with that all white, white pearl, a little bit of chartreuse sometimes, a little bit of silver flakes in there. That's the number 1 colors for me when I'm throwing a hair jig. All the other colors will work, but those are the ones I really like to throw the most. And when it comes to conditions where you get a lot of wind, it gets a lot harder to fish in general, I like to pull out swim baits. I really do like to striper fish with swim baits, larger, medium size swim baits for the most part, and they're gonna get you bigger striper, bigger bites, and you're gonna get, you're gonna have a great time fishing swim baits in the wind. They're very easy to cast. I've had, it's a lot harder to cast a lot of those 1/4 ounce hair jigs when it gets really windy. I like to go to those swim baits that chop, the low light penetration, the low light visibility, and the fish just seem to really key in on bait fish when it gets choppy. So the next bait we're going to talk about is going to be the LV500 and the Megabass 110 jerkbait, or the Lucky Craft pointers. Jackal has some good jerk baits. There's some good jerk baits out there, and then there's also the LV500s, which are by Lucky Craft, really good lipless crankbaits. Those work really well. Jerk baits and lipless crankbaits allow you to cover a lot of water. They allow you to kind of control the depth of that lure and go through the water column, figuring out, okay, we've got fish here, kind of around, this. You can figure things out really quick. And then from there, if that's still not working, there's always the option of cut bait. Now, I believe live bait is illegal there. Most places in California, live bait is illegal. So I pretty much, I don't even play with it. But so when it comes to live bait, you can have success on jumbo minnows or some kind of shiners. You just go ahead and hook them up. But like I said, I don't think that's okay there. Could be wrong about that. And As far as cut bait, we did really well on, you know, a variety of anchovies. Occasionally chicken liver would get us, you know, some bites and a couple fish, but it was more so the anchovies. We did a little bit of, you know, some mackerel and things like that. Didn't really do too well. So in general, I really like the anchovies as a cut bait option if you're going for stripers when you're at New Hogan. And another option, another option we're going to talk about is something that I really love doing, and that's throwing topwater for striper. You know, throwing big spook or walk the dog type baits for striped bass. So New Hogan is one of those fisheries that, like I said, there's an abundance of other fish in the lake, bass, panfish and stuff, but these fish are also keying in on smaller bait fish, fresh bass, fry, and other small bait fish that may have hatched. So every year, you know, there's pretty much a real gorge on a lot of those fry from the spawns of that year. But New Hogan is excellent right now. Striper bite, excellent generally all spring, all fall. And, you know, don't let, make sure your hair jigs are bucktail, and make sure they're somewhere between 3 and 4 inches long. These fish really key in on that particular, you know, size. And I also want to tell you that, you know, when you're out there, you're going to want to focus on areas like points, island tops, channels, on the outside edges of a channel, on the outside edges of coves. Maybe, let's say you've got a cove, a point, a creek coming in on one side, and then maybe you've got the channel very nearby. You know, things along that. Like, you want to focus on areas that have a lot going on. So if there's water coming in, you know, and you've got a point right there, that's a good place to start. If, you know, you've got an island top and then a point right there, that's another good place. You know, focus on these areas. You're gonna figure out where the fish are really fast on your body of water. But ultimately, guys, New Hogan, one of those little fisheries that a lot of people underestimate how many fish are in there. I really believe that could be a much better fishery in general as far as the average size of fish. If there wasn't so much pressure and there wasn't so many people fishing there for stripers and bass, and so many tournaments on the lake, the mortality rate for those tournaments on those bass is like 50 at the best, 50, 60%. At the worst, it's like 80% death rate. Terrible. I hope that you guys get out there at New Hogan and get on some striper. Comment below, let us know, you know, recent trips, past trips at New Hogan for striper, what you've done well with, what you haven't. We like the things we've talked about today, and we hope you guys go out there and have success. Thanks for staying tuned.